welcome to another edition of Sense and Nonsense. My name is P Tharyan and you're watching the Motown India show. Today we're going to talk about the MG Comet, which is of course the flavor of the season, the car of the season. Will it succeed? Now that's what MG Motor India would be thinking. Will it succeed? Well, if you see the feedback which I've got from a lot of people around my locality where I stay, 50-50. Yeah, there are a bunch of people who love electric vehicles, who love new things, who love and understand the benefits of an electric vehicle. They are excited. But there's a whole bunch of people out there who need to show off, who need to kind of not really bother about the environment. They seem to be not too excited seeing this small MG Comet. But before we come to MG Comet electric vehicle, let me talk about small cars. The smallest car we have had, which came with a big bang, was the Tata Nano. If you remember, many years back, and Ratan Tata's dream just soured over a period of time. Something went wrong. Maybe the people didn't accept that car because it was just not their kind. The car was wonderful, the performance was kind of decent, it saved fuel, it got rid of congestion on the roads, but there were no great takers. Initially the car did around 20-25,000 units per month, then it dwindled down and finally it became zilch. So Indians as a whole gave a thumbs down to the Nano, which I personally think was the biggest tragedy in our automotive industry. The car should have done well. But that's history now. And when the MG Comet was parked outside my house in the parking lot, some of the boys came and said, Nano jaise lagti hai. Of course, Nano jaise nahi lagti, but Nano type in terms of size, yes, Nano type. So they kind of gave it a thumbs down, nahi, ye Nano type hai. And they were kind of sniggering. But like I said, there were many serious guys out there who own electric vehicles in my locality, like the Nexon EV and a few others. They were very much interested in it. So now coming back to the first small car, the Reva electric car. Now that was not really my kind of car, even if I really want to save the environment. But subsequently Mahindra bought it and got the E2O in its place and modified it, made it a lot more smarter. So when I drove it, I loved it because there were no other comparisons out there. And yet it didn't feel like a car. In fact, it didn't drive like a car. It wasn't solid. I mean, it was like vibrating like that. It was a poor cousin of a car. So that too, I guess, didn't take off in any major way. It just sold a handful of units every month, and finally Mahindra had to say goodbye. So that was the end of the Mahindra E2O small electric car. Now, MG Motor India has brought in this wonderful small car. Now, before I get into this car, let me tell you, we all talk of reducing the carbon footprint. We all talk about congestion on our roads. But technically speaking and realistically speaking, no one gives a damn. In fact, every automotive company CEO talks about reducing carbon footprint, but that's just a fad. But if you take a closer look at their homes, you'll realize they would be driving perhaps the most powerful internal combustion engine vehicles out there. Their garage will be full of some of the fanciest cars, from Ferraris to Lamborghinis to the biggest SUVs. So that's it. Can you spot an Anand Mahindra or the CEO of Mercedes or Audi or someone driving a small car like the MG Comet? In fact, will I ever find Rajiv Chhabra driving it perhaps for a week in his life every month, the MG Comet? Very unlikely. If he does so, I'll be very happy, because at the end of the day, we all want big cars. And this is where our problem starts and ends. We all want big cars every moment of our lives. Yes, the requirement of big cars is definitely there. In fact, big cars are needed when you have to move families from one place to another, intercity, big highways. We need a bigger car, spacious car, so you travel. But within the city, the congestion which is building up, the long waiting hours at traffic lights and while driving, it's all because of the fact that we are all driving very big cars. One person, two people, चला रहे हो, गाड़ी पूरी खाली पड़ी हुई है, यहाँ से 4 मीटर से आगे सारा बूट स्पेस एम्प्टी है. I mean, there is no proper utilization of the vehicle. It might be a V8 engine, a V6 engine, horsepower 200, 300, torque 250, 320. भाई ये सब कहाँ चलाओगे दिल्ली में या मुंबई में या बैंगलोर में या कोच्चि में? I'm telling you that, be smart. And that's where an MG Comet comes into play. Now, MG Comet has its pluses and minuses, but the fact is, and I'm being very serious about it, is that it drives like a car. It is a lot drivable. When I sped it on the roads of Delhi, and it hit 60, 50, 80, 100, and you had different drive modes in it. You have a sport mode in it, you have a normal, you have an eco. So it's like any other decent modern car. And look at the screen in front. There are two split screens and they're so fascinating. So, you can't say that it's like a nano. It's definitely like an MG modern car. In fact, it can be your second car, your third car. I'm not saying the MG Comet is the best solution in the electric vehicle small car space. The fact is, and I'm being very honest about that, it's a decent car. So if tomorrow Tata brings it out or Maruti brings out an electric small car, I would still vouch for that if it's made well. Today, people commuting in cities, they need to drive a small car. But having said that, I might give you a good lecture on saving the earth, but 90% of people out there would say, तो हम क्या करें भाई, ग्लेशियर मेल्ट हो रहा है तो मेल्ट होने दो, तो हम करें क्या भाई? So people generally living in cities have always been selfish. So all those guys who are manufacturing electric vehicles, I would like them to actually raise their hand and say, मेरे पास electric vehicle है जो मैं हर रोज चलाता हूँ या हफ्ते में या महीने में एक हफ्ता चलाता हूँ. I don't think there is anyone. They would love their Audis and BMWs and Lamborghinis and all the fancy sedans where they can have the driver drive them. Bus driver can also drive the other car, the MG Comet. But they will not do it because prestige है भाई. दुनिया को दिखाना होता है कि मेरे पास बहुत बड़ी गाड़ी है. For God's sake, listen to me and be serious. नहीं तो जैसे मेरा दोस्त बोलता है, भैया चप्पू चलाओगे, मुंबई वाले ऐसे ही चलेंगे भैया. हाँ मैं आ रहा हूँ ऑफिस सर. Let me conclude. It's not going to be a cakewalk for MG Motor India with the MG Comet. It might just be a little bit difficult for the MG Comet to survive in the Indian market. I wish it the very best. And I hope you've liked this video. If you have, do not forget to give us a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed to the Motown India channel, do so now. We are going to be very regular from now onwards. We are trying our best.